Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from. My name is Tisha. I'm one of the hosts of Casual Convo Friday, along with Nate Flood out of Georgia. Hello, Nate.
Hi.
Hi, good to see you. And today we have a very special guest coming from Arizona, where I am also located, Misty Kortes. She is the founder of Your Marketing Coach and Pug Shop Design. And she is here today to get us started on planning your success for 2021. And honestly, Misty, I can't think of a better time to start planning for next year. I think a lot of us are ready to move on out of 2020. Would you say?
Absolutely. It's funny because every year I like to take October to start my planning for the next year because it takes time to put the work in to really plan it right and get clear on what you want to accomplish. So yeah, I think it's good timing.
I think so too. All right. Well, so a couple just housekeeping announcements. If you're tuning in live or even catching the replay, because you can always watch this, it is here forever. You can, like Mark just said, hey, Mark, go Nate, go Misty, go Tisha. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can drop us a comment in the chat box. This is being streamed through tons of different platforms on both Nate's and my platforms. So make sure you share a comment, ask a question. Misty is a wealth of knowledge. Definitely here to answer those questions for you. And I'm going to let Nate over here take it away with our very first question for Misty.
All right. Well, Misty, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Let's just jump into it. You were talking about how you like to get started on your planning early because, there's a lot involved and stuff. Let's talk about why it's so important to plan. I mean, I know everybody kind of like in the back of their head knows that it's important, but I don't think a lot of people really understand the benefits of planning out their year, their quarter, their month, even their week. There's a lot of people that are just kind of like day to day. So let's talk about why it's so important.
Yeah, well, I call that drifting. And there's nothing worse. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I mean, literally, I dated all the way back to the first grade. So like we're talking a long time now. And, I think Brian Tracy says it best. He says, 10 minutes of planning will save you hours in execution. It couldn't be more. It's just so true, right? And here's what I know about being an entrepreneur for a few years is that, we wing it. And we drift and we hope and we wish. And then at the end of the year, the year rounds out and we start thinking about our business and what we've done and what we've accomplished. And don't get me wrong, even drifting, most entrepreneurs are going to get some things done. The question is are the things that you're focusing on and doing in alignment with what you want to accomplish? Right. And I think if I were to survey 100, or 1,000 business owners, they'd all say no. Most of the things I'm reactive in my business rather than being proactive. And that doesn't feel good. So that's why I think it's important. If you want to feel great about your business and feel like you're actually working towards something that you want to accomplish, then planning is the way to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, to kind of shine a little bit of light on Tisha here, she does a lot of planning for us, getting our guests booked, getting them lined up.
Thank you.
Hey,
we gotta have guests.
Exactly. But like a lot of people, they'll be like, well, I want to start a live. Like it's not always like necessarily business related. Sometimes it's just they want to start a live channel. They want to start a YouTube channel, whatever. And they go at it with like no plan whatsoever. And so they're just like, okay, I'm going to film myself once a week. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And I don't know who I'm going to talk to and stuff like that. And I know her doing that helps us out a ton. And then, me handling the stuff that I do. Can you talk to us about when you're working with your clients, how do you help them get through the fact that if they were, let's be honest, if they knew how to plan and organize themselves, they probably wouldn't be coming to you for your services, right? Like that's kind of how it is with me. If people knew how to do what I do, they wouldn't be coming to me, right? So how do you get people into that planning mode to where they're actually like planning it and then, somewhat following the plan? I know things happen, but, how do you get people into that mode?
Yeah. So, okay, I cheated. I know this is casual Convo Friday, but I made a few notes only because I want to make sure that I hit all of them because they're so important. In my opinion, the planning process, and I've been doing this for several years now, and it's funny because it wasn't until last year I actually put a program together. I'll be sharing with you guys later, but that has the steps that I would take when I was planning in my own business. I never had a program that I taught other people to do it, and I thought, and I realized last year about this time that a lot of business owners are tired of drifting, and they want a plan that they can execute, that they feel confident in, that's going to help them get them closer to their goals, and if nothing else, just move the needle in their business, right? Mm-hmm. So the first thing that I always talk about when I talk about planning is you got to lay the foundation, and in my opinion, the foundation is your mission, vision, goals, and core values. And I know as a business owner, a lot of business owners that I've worked with, you know, when they hear that, they kind of like go, oh yeah, I've heard that before, right? And so few people actually take the time to really get crystal clear on that. And I know I was actually someone who did that. I was actually the person that went, yeah, I know. Because I had what I thought was a vision in my mind for my business. And it wasn't until I actually started bringing people onto my team that I realized I wasn't crystal clear on what my vision was and what I wanted to accomplish and the mission that we had behind it. And because of that, my team didn't know what I expected of them. And so we had huge disconnects because of it. And so I could go into, I don't want to go into each of the lessons, but like it was critically important so that you get crystal clear, but you get it documented. When it's documented, it's crystal clear. If it's in your mind, you may think it's clear to you, but it's not clear to anyone else that's working with you. Yeah. So, and then step number 2, once you've established that, I call it the entrepreneurial scoreboard. I always relate it to like, Nate, if I was coming to your house for the first time and I called you up and I said, hey, Nate, I'm on my way, but I think I'm lost. What would you say to me?
Ask you where you're at. Exactly.
Like in order for me to coach a business on how to achieve their goals, I need to know where they're at. Start. Where's that starting point? Because I can't tell you where to turn, what strategies to implement. And you alluded to it, Nate, just a few minutes ago. You said, you know, you might want to implement a social media strategy or YouTube strategy. That's the problem, is that as business owners, we're chasing strategies and we don't even know if those strategies are going to be in alignment with us helping us achieve our goals. So the entrepreneurial scoreboard is just a snapshot of where you're at. I used to, in my old business, I trained salespeople, and every time they would come into the office, I'm like, where you at? Where you at? It's always, where's your numbers, right? So, and then the third step, and feel free to break in here because I got 8 steps.
All right, you keep going.
All right.
I know you're doing good. You're doing good, Misty.
I'm a teacher, so like this is what I do. I don't know if I know how to do casual convo. I just teach. So the third step. All right. The third step in the process is to plan your profit, right? So I have a revenue planning worksheet where it's funny because I do discovery calls with business owners. And one of the questions I ask is, you know, what is your revenue goal? And of course, they usually spiel out a number. And I said, great, how many, what do you need to do to accomplish that? And then their next question is, well, what do you mean? I'm like, no, like, what do you need to do to hit that goal? And they don't even know. So, and I'm not bashing business owners. I did this for years, right? So here's the funny thing about growth in a business. We think it's this magic. It's not. It's a mathematical equation. It's math. You want to make $100,000 and you sell $1,000 widgets. It's math. That is all it is, right? But we need to know what the math is, because if we don't get it down on paper and actually document it, it's an illusion in our mind and it doesn't actually exist. So, so that's that.
I want to say something too. So I'll jump in as you're getting ready to do your other goal planning and so forth. But it's also like I have a check sitting on top of my little bulletin board of this is the amount that I want to make. So it's a lot more about like the vision and then the execution, but you have to already like be in possession of I am going to do this. It's so much about the mindset. This is the goal that I have. This is the date that I want to hit this. This is what I'm going to do. So then now you have the strategies, the tactics that you're going to be utilizing to get to that goal. It's not enough for me to be saying, I want to make $1 million. Well, that sounds fun, but have nothing else. Like there's no foundation, like you're saying, Misty. So I find a lot of entrepreneurs just pull a number out of their butt. And they're just like, this is it. No idea how I'm going to get there.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. And what's interesting though is that the mind is so tricky, right? Because if we don't believe we can achieve it, we will do things that will sabotage our success, right? And not even consciously. And so once you have the number in mind, I know I need to sell this many units of whatever, right? To hit my revenue goal. All of a sudden, your mind believes that it can achieve it because it's an actual tangible number. It's a tangible thing that you can, pursue. I relate it to like going on a vacation. If I was said to our best friends, hey, you guys want to take a vacation this summer? Usually they'd go, yeah, where are we going? And I'm like, I'm not sure. Well, when are we leaving? I'll let you know. Like it's absurd to think about it that way, but that is how most entrepreneurs run their business. It's like, I want to make money. Okay, great. So if you make $1 this year, you'll be happy? Well, no. I mean, that's ridiculous. So how much do you want to make? Then they throw a number out there. Great. How do you get there? Right? And even on vacation, my friends would say, are we driving? Are we taking a plane? Like, we need some details here, Misty. Right?
Oh,
but Misty, are you sure you're not like a stand-up comedian too? Like an in-your-face stand-up comedian / teacher / marketing coach. I'm just gonna say, you just have such an energy about you. So we have a couple of comments, and I want to make sure because there are people watching us live. So Nate, sir, will you put Mark Bentcover's message up there? He had said this earlier: make your plan, execute, and adjust when it doesn't go as planned because it usually doesn't. Go entrepreneurs. So thank you, Mark. Absolutely. We can all agree to that. You've got to be able to plan and execute. And then we have Nat Handler joining us from the Vendara Group. Hey, Tisha, Nate, and Misty. Planning is so important. Your business plan is the blueprint for your business. They help keep you accountable for your long-term vision and strategy and gain insights into how your strategy is or isn't coming together over time. Yes. This is a great way to look at it. Hey, it's not working. Got to fix that. Got to change it up.
Yeah. And that's an important part of the planning process is, right? You set goals for the year. In my opinion, I think you adjust quarterly, right? Not daily, not weekly, not every time you want to chase a shiny object, but quarterly, right? Stay committed for 90 days and then course correct if need be. So great tips. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, one of the biggest things that I struggle with, or not that I struggle with, but what I find people struggling with is, I used to struggle with it, don't get me wrong, but when they set their goal of what they want to achieve, like if they want to hit $1 million or hit 500,000 or whatever the case may be, right? They don't even know like how many customers they have to sell in order to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're selling something that's $12 an item and you're only making $6 off of it, you need to find out how many customers you got to hit, and then you got to figure out how to get those customers, right?
Right.
A lot of people don't do that. They just think, well, I need to make $1 million. I need to basically hit a little under 100 grand a month kind of thing. And but they don't, they've not even planned out a profit strategy. I know when I first started, I used to do 50% up front, 50% on the back end. Yeah. And that was fine for small projects. But then when I started getting 6-figure projects, it went south real fast because we started working with startups. They burned through all their cash. I got hit with the bill because, know the project. They're like, hey, and I'm like, well, great. So now I'm breaking even. And the way the story goes is if you break even for long enough, you'll start losing, right? Because stuff comes up. So, I went out and got with every architect I've ever worked with, general construction, anybody that does project work, anybody from any field, and I just like polled them. I was just like, how you guys make your money? Like, how are you structuring getting paid, stuff like that? Like, I don't have a problem with making the sale. I have a problem with making the money off the sale.
Right.
I went into the whole structuring okay, now we're doing 35% up front and we're going to get paid every 2 weeks the remainder. That was kind of what we ended up doing. So at no point in time do we ever suffer any loss. We may miss out on promise money, but we're not losing money because we're always getting paid every 2 weeks. And if they ever stop paying us, we've got that 35% up front to go in there. You know what I mean? So people planning that type of stuff, I find they don't do that whatsoever, and it leads them to a huge hole in their budget and the money that they're trying to make.
Absolutely. Well, I realized a few years ago that the goals I had set for our business, the revenue goals, was going to require that I had a team to help make that happen, right? When I took the time to do the math, I realized, like, I'm at a pivotal point in my business. Do I want to remain a solopreneur, entrepreneur, where I'm doing all the work and, but I get 100% of the net revenue, right? Or do I want to hire a team and have that responsibility? And at the end of the day, and I know a lot of business owners can attest to this, I see it very often where business owners will actually make less than the people who work with them. Right?
I've seen that too. Yeah.
Many times. And so the question is, when you do the math and you actually do the planning and you realize what it's going to take, because it's not just about setting the goal and saying, okay, this is how much I have to sell and how many customers I need to acquire, but it's how do I service this? How do I implement it? Do I have the assets, resources, tools that I need to actually do the implementation? And if not, then the planning goes further and deeper, right? And you might realize maybe that $1 million goal isn't really what I want, because at the end of the day, I might not even make as much as the business owner at that level. So that was the eye-opening for me. This is probably almost 5 years ago now. And this is why planning's so important.
Right? No, I mean, I'll be honest with you. For the past 7 years, I definitely could have made more not being a business owner. I could have made more being a freelancer. But I wanted to be able to do more for people. I didn't want to get siloed. That was my big thing. And so owning a business allows me to get that joy of what I like doing, which is expanding and growing things. But I totally agree with you. I mean, it's definitely that way. You have to make those types of decisions. And it all comes down to, just like you said, planning for success.
And that's why starting with your vision is the most important aspect, laying that foundation of understanding. Like, is this about the revenue I'm making? Is it about the impact that I'm making? Is it about the opportunities I'm creating? Like, what is it that fuels your desire to be a business owner and to serve your communities and the people that you do? Once you get crystal clear on what you want to accomplish, all of a sudden, your comfort isn't as it doesn't weigh in as important, right? Because now it can force you to stretch because you have a bigger vision that's outside of yourself, right? So
look, good wisdom right there.
Hey, Nat chimed in too. We were talking about setting that 90 days and then course correcting. I really love that too, Misty, because you do see a lot of people that are just like, it didn't work today. Tomorrow I change everything. But you didn't even give it time to start working. So put that back up there one more time.
I don't even know. I'm not even looking at. I don't know what you're doing.
It's covering our faces. All right. Quarterly review is key. You need time to let your strategic plans play out, and you can't just throw the business plan in the drawer and forget about it. No, absolutely not.
I'm not going to say who did this week, but I had a client I met with last week. We met twice, right? In 7 days to map out a strategy for the end of the year for her and put some really great things in place so that she could, rather than creeping into 2021, right? She can launch into 2021. Yeah. And literally the weekend passed. Monday morning, she sent me a message. Something came up. I have to stop everything we're doing and totally derails. Now, maybe it is something, we haven't had an opportunity to chat about it yet. Maybe it is something she needs to pursue, and I don't know, but most of the time my experience when I have these conversations with clients is they're chasing a shiny object, and there's nothing more frustrating, and we've all done it. I've done it where you thought this was going to be an amazing opportunity, and then all of a sudden you dropped everything in your life or business to go pursue it, and then all of a sudden it fell short. And most of the time, the reason why everything we kind of pursue and we think is going to be bigger than life, the reason why it falls short is because we didn't take the time to think about it and plan it and see what it's going to take to execute, because our mind plays tricks. We think we can do more than what we're actually a human being is capable of doing. Right. So this is why the planning process. And so my next step in the planning process, I talk about identifying the big boulders in your business. What are those things that are going to actually move the needle? Because we all know as business owners, we can stay busy. Here's what I know about entrepreneurs. They are the freaking hardest working people you will ever meet, ever. We will jeopardize everything. We are a bet it all kind of folks, right? We work our tail off and we love every minute of it until one day you wake up and you realize, I don't know how long it takes. For me, it was probably 10, maybe 12, 15 years. I don't know. You wake up and you realize, like, I'm working hard and there is fulfillment in that, a certain level of fulfillment in that. But then all of a sudden I start to realize, but there's other things in my life that are important too. And I want to make sure that I have space for those and I have time for those. And I don't want to work at this level all the time.
Yep.
You know? And so identifying those big boulders will help you identify how to move the actual needle, right?
That is so key. I mean, how many of us we feel like we have that imbalance where we're not spending time, we don't have the priorities in check, our health is declining. I mean, I've been there, Nate, I don't know if you've been there. It is just, it's hard. It's hard to take where you're putting everything you've got into this business and you have nothing left for anything else.
Yep.
You know, so smartest thing I did was, what are my priorities? Okay, put those in first. And then what's the time that I have? Like, I am diligent, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's where I'm working, you know, and that's it, because I don't want to miss all these other priorities that I have, or else I know that I'm not in harmony with myself.
Yep.
Everything is just falling apart.
I just posted on social media recently, workaholism is not a badge of honor. It's not.
No, it's not.
But we wear it like it is, like it's the biggest trophy we've earned, right? I did it for a lot of years.
I know. I mean, people say it with pride. I'm a workaholic.
That is not good.
It's not a good thing. It's not
I wish I would have. And you know, I don't know. It's the evolution of being an entrepreneur, right? Because in the moment of being the workaholic, you feel fulfilled because you love what you do and you love serving people and you're passionate about it, and you can almost justify it, but it's not justifiable. Yeah,
it's not. But I think it's just kind of like also that little rite of passage that you got to do so that you can appreciate where you were before, so that you can understand the value of what you're doing now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, like there's a ton of people, like me and my wife ran through like 4 episodes of Shark Tank last night. And you can always tell the difference between somebody who grew a business and it was just pure hell in the beginning.
Yeah.
And now they understand the value of, hey, I've got employees, we've got benefits, I'm at home. Like they understand that value. If somebody goes into that, you know, if they raise a bunch of capital and they hire everybody from the get-go and they don't really have to do anything, they don't understand the value of that stuff because it was given to them. You know, it basically that's they were talking about that last night about how we're glorifying like raising capital over growing sales. Like it's, you know, because it's easier to raise capital than it is to grow sales. Let's just be honest. But they glorify it, and it's just you know, I think you hit it on nail on the head there with the whole. It's not a badge of honor, but it is something that you needed to go through.
Yeah, most of us do, but in retrospect, if I could rewind a few years back, getting funding to grow faster to make a bigger impact, I would have been open to that.
Everything has its good points. Everything has its bad points. I'm not knocking it. It was just like it was. You know, they were mainly hinting at the fact like, hey, if you raise $14 million for your company and you're sitting there, like there was this guy coming on the show to get money, but he had $4 million in his bank account, like cash on hand. They're like, why are you here asking for $500K? You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have that value of that dollar going on because, you know, it's been given a ton of money.
I've seen that. I've seen that too. I've worked with businesses who've gotten capital, who've raised money to start their businesses. And hey, it's great, but you still have to plan how you're going to use it, how you're going to execute it, and how it's going to move the needle and make the impact you want it to make.
Oh yeah.
It goes back to the same thing every time.
Yep. We have hey Nate, we have a couple of comments coming through. I know, and let me just read a couple. So Nat joining us from Facebook talking about shiny object syndrome. I believe Mark said the same thing about the shiny object, that don't be a cat entrepreneur where you're like, ooh, ball of yarn, ooh, fish over there, and move toward that. And then of course he's saying your eyes are bigger than your stomach usually. Absolutely. And then we've got this one. Helen, thank you so much for being on with us today. I'm going to read this to everybody, but yes, startups and startovers need this. We must also attract diverse core team members committed to share the work, to collaborate, save money, make money, and keep turning learning into smart action plan steps for accountability and quality improvement. The history of why citizens, public employees, and customers of banks, credit card companies, debt management companies, and people coached by the SBDC and the volunteers serving in faith communities know nothing about. Thank you, Helen. Thank you for sharing that. That was a great quote, and it was good to see you. Good to see you on today with us on Casual Convo Friday. That was a very well thought out comment. Thank you.
I was gonna say
I know.
They're on it this morning.
That covered our whole faces. Yeah. So we know that was well thought out. Thank you, Helen, for taking the time to share that with us. And yeah, I mean, this is everything. It's kind of like what Misty was saying, is you also have to know, like, what's your time worth? You know, in those big boulders. I mean, if you're doing things that someone who you could pay $10 to do can do for you and do it better and more efficiently, so you can move on moving the needle in your business, why wouldn't you do that? Why do you keep constantly keeping yourself and doing every little thing if you know you can have support from other sources?
Why we do it? We haven't planned, so we don't have a path to follow. So what we do is we want to fill our days with things we're comfortable with.
Yep. We're busy. Well, what'd you do? Nothing.
What I do? I made these graphics. You could hire a designer. It's part of the program that I have in Plan Your Success, where I break down, if you're looking to make $100,000 a year, divide that by 40 hours a week, and we do the math on that. And basically, at the end of the day, if you're not earning at least, if the activities that you're doing in your business isn't worth at least $200 an hour to your business, you're costing yourself money, right?
Yep.
We just think, oh, it's easier if I just do it. Oh, that is like, I think that's the go-to response for entrepreneurs. It's just easier if I do it.
Oh yeah.
You have no idea how much that statement is costing you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Let's just take a moment and do the math on that, right? And I know I've done it. Again, there's no judgment here. It's just it's a level of awareness that these are the things that cost us our goals in business. So
yes.
Absolutely. I know my opening moment, like when I really started like changing the business model up and stuff, and when I brought my business partner on, all that, it came from the fact that like I was in that mindset of I'll just do it, it's faster, because a lot of times it's faster for that little thing, but it's not faster with everything else around it, if that makes sense.
Well, what is it costing you? That 20 minutes could have been used to do something else that is that will move the needle more, right?
Exactly. So yeah. And so like, you know, I started like realizing like, hey, I'm missing out on people that I was having conversations with that could have led to like 6-figure jobs, but I'm working for like 5-figure jobs, you know, like, or even 4 or even 3-figure jobs. You know, I was letting little things. And so like, I just had to make the choice of, hey, it's time to start acting like a bank and take on only people that we want. You know, nothing wrong with everybody else, but that's just not where we are. We got to get, you know, focused on who we want, and really get into that mode of, all right, you're going to have to take this, you're going to have to take this, you're going to have to take this, you know, that kind of thing. Get out of that bottleneck syndrome, because that's the word, that's the biggest business killer there is.
Yep, I agree.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Misty, I don't even know if we got through your 8. Did we go through your 8 or
not quite? I don't really have time. I have so much. I could go on for days. Like
I know this is going to be a whole Casual Convo Friday. Well, I'm going to Vegas right after this, so I'm like, woo! It is a road trip coming up. Well, I know we have just a little bit of time left over, but okay. So I know we've gotten through some of your plan, your success tips, but what if more people want information from you? How can they find it? What do you have coming up? I know you have a workshop in the works coming up too. So yeah, why don't you take the time and share with viewers what it is you have going on?
Yeah, so I mentioned last year, this time, I actually created the Plan Your Success program. So it's an online training program. You guys can grab it if you'd like to. You go to YMC for Your Marketing Coach. So YMC planyoursuccess.com. You can go there, you get access to like 12 training videos. They're all online, and a workbook that'll help kind of walk you through some of the steps that we talked about today. But since then, so I've been offering this program all year long. When we bring clients on board and coaching clients, we have them go through this process, and it's been so successful, and I've gotten such great feedback. I've actually made a decision. Number one, I'm writing a book.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. So I'm going to have it done by the end of January, and going to be launching that in the first quarter of next year. So I'll be launching the Plan Your Success book. And in addition to that, I actually want to hold workshops on a regular basis. So my very first workshop I'm going to be hosting is going to be December 11th. It's a Friday. It'll be from 9 to noon. And it's an opportunity, so you can take the online program, and a lot of people have had success in implementing that and really, getting into the details of their business. And some people come back to me and they're like, hey, Misty, I love the program, but I have so many questions and I need someone to talk to. And can I bounce some ideas off you? And so that's what I kind of envision this online workshop to be, is an opportunity for you to get your questions answered. So if you feel stuck in the process, we can help coach each other and work together. So I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for you. You're going to help so many people make a big impact, especially going into 2021.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff.
We'll have to pivot this year, right?
Oh, yes. Yes. So. Definitely had to pivot. Well, good. Well, Misty, such a pleasure having you on. Thank you for tuning in with us. Misty, again, the founder of Your Marketing Coach and Pug Shop Design. Go grab her worksheet. Go grab her course. Again, ymcplanyoursuccess.com is where you can find that. I've taken it. It's pretty incredible. I've referred a lot of people to it too, because it's so essential that you start planning before you execute. So good stuff. Thanks to everybody for tuning in live with us or catching the replay. Misty, where can people find you? What's the best place for them to find you?
Go to yourmarketingcoachonline.com, the longest URL in the history of URLs. I'm going, oh my goodness. But that's the place to go. Go there. You can even type in Misty Kortes. I have a personal website. And go there. I have all kinds of free resources too. So if you're a business owner and you just need some help with marketing, I've got tons of resources there. So you can check them out and plug into our community.
All right. So there you have it. Yourmarketingcoachonline.com is how you can find Misty, get all of her resources. Again, as I shared earlier, wealth of knowledge, this woman. And thanks, Misty, for being on. Nate, always a pleasure seeing you. And thanks to all of our guests. Thanks for chiming in and sharing some comments with us today. We hope you have a great weekend, and we will catch you back next Friday on Casual Convo Friday.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.